On this week of Juicing It Up, we are doing some more cucumbers, some more pineapples, apples. We're cutting everything up a little bit more smaller. Got something in here. And shoot. Still got my kale. Y'all, I can't be showing y'all no skin. My man, he don't play all of that. Still got my kale. Some of them from last time. Put up some new fresh kale. Put it in there. Feel me? I've been running every day now because a close friend of mine was like, "Don't lose yourself." And I'm like, "What you mean?" He's like, "You haven't been working out like you was." I was working out a lot. Like I'm still eating my veggies and stuff. And he was like, you got to work out. The type of body that I have to work out. Some people they can only work out once a week and they'll be good for the rest of their life. Me, I gotta work out continuously because of the type of body I got. And I got this new thing called the Nutra XL slicer. Now they was selling this on TikTok, but I found it for a way cheaper price. So y'all should definitely check it out. Check it out. Okay. Got all of these vegetables and stuff everywhere. It's so cool to look. Look over there. Look at that. Y'all get y'all one of these, okay? But yeah, it's so cool the way everything just sliced. But in this one, I'm gonna be talking about how I almost lost my life. All because I was in a domestic violence situation. Now, I'm not gonna mention too much of this person's personal information. Like, I'm not gonna be releasing like much information about this person because the case we're still in court for it. But yes, I was married to a lunatic, and this was like almost 3 years ago. So I didn't get my healing and stuff. I didn't get my healing and I didn't moved on. But what drew me to this individual was the fact that I was in a I was like in very bad mind. I was in a very bad headspace. I was depressed because somebody very close to me had passed away, and I just so desperately just wanted to be around someone when I should have allowed myself time to heal and just focus on myself. So everything started off real sweet, of course, and things quickly things quickly went south. Quickly. I had to do some I had to do some self-care treatments, of course. I really like take long baths. And I really sat back and I thought about what I had just did and how it was wrong. You know, some people they might not feel like it. I felt like it was wrong because for one, I'm a pet mom. You know what I mean? I'm a pet mom. I shouldn't have left my dogs there that long. And then second, why am I spending night at this man's house like that? You know what I mean? Like I was wrong. But honestly, like we started talking on the phone a lot. You know what I mean? And as we talk more on the phone, like I really grew to feel comfort. I felt comfort. And every time when it was something going on, you know, or it was some type of trouble that I felt like I was in, I would reach out to him and he would be there to talk to me. He was there. You know what I mean? He was there for me in a way that I believed that I needed at the time. And he was kind to me. He was never ever mean to me at that time. Then it got to the place where, he was like, well, what kind of relationship do you want? I told him the kind of relationship I want. Red flag number one. You know what I mean? Man is ass. I don't know. It can and it can't be. I feel like those kind of conversations people are used to having a lot. But honestly, I feel like we should just be. Just let me be me and you be you and we work as a team. Like that's really how it should be. But he really, really, really got deep with me. Like even when it came to my music, certain songs, I was like, should I release this? Should I not release it? He was there supporting me, telling me things that I wanted to hear. Like, you need to release this. I know it was like this one song my friends, they was like, you shouldn't release that. You need to get it mixed and mastered some more. You need to have somebody else work on it with you because they care about me putting out the best of my craft. But he told me, fuck that. Is it about the art or is it about it sounding too perfect? Like that's how he would talk to me. And for some reason, I really liked that. And I felt like I needed that. So I would take his advice and I allowed him to get in my mind. I allowed him to get in my head. And with me allowing that's how things got farther than they should have gone with him, because he was the worst relationship I ever had. Um, so I told him, I said, if you want, he was talking about us like living together and all this other stuff. I'm like, and he said that he wanted me to have his baby. I'm like, well, if you want me to live with you and if you want this and you want that, then we need to get married. I'm like, because I'm not about to live with no man and I'm not about to have a kid with no man that is not my husband. And he was like, okay. He was like, I'll be your husband. And I said, I didn't do enough research. So a man that's willing to rush, watch out for that, ladies, because I didn't do enough research on this man. I didn't see if he had a background. I didn't even meet his mom or none of them yet. I didn't meet well, I met his grandma and I met some of his aunties, and that's because they would cook and stuff, but we didn't really have we I didn't have a conversation with them women like that. Unless they was asking me what I wanted on my plate. So I should have taken the time to do more research and see who he was. I didn't do that. So we ended up getting married. I'm gonna just fast forward. Like we ended up getting married. And what else am I looking for? I think I'm not like this coconut water. I think I want to put that inside of my juice. This is about to be the fun part. I'm about to start. I'm about to start juicing. So first of all, before I continue to go any further, in no way am I doing this video to glorify what happened to me. I'm doing this video to make other people aware so they can know what signs to look out for. And if they are going through this situation, maybe perhaps they can come out stronger. So if you know somebody that's going through this, please feel free to share the video. Please leave a comment. Let me know your own experiences, or you know, share like how you feel about my experience, or if someone else's that you know. I don't know, just leave a comment. Um, I told myself that I was never, ever, ever going to share my story, but I'm deciding to share my story because honestly, this is healing for me, and I want to be able to help other males and females out there, whoever is going through it. So, like I said, I was in a really bad headspace. I was in love with someone. I was very, very like we was very, very close with one another, and I just thought this person was going to be around forever. And they passed away. And when they passed away, my mind was not the same for a minute. It actually took me a few years. I actually believe that I'm really really starting to get back to kind of like what I really wanted for myself and what I really wanted to do. I had to build up my I had to build myself back up. Not just even on the outside, even though on the outside I looked okay to a lot of people, mentally I wasn't. I had very negative thoughts about life. And I questioned everything for a long time. And so if you feeling kind of muddy, you feel like, it was like I felt like I was okay. So, and like people, you feel like you're okay. You're numb to things. You think everything's all right, but it isn't, because thinking you're not thinking correctly. You feel me? So I met this person through Instagram, through social media. Now, I do music and stuff like that, and with all the promo, all the different like club hopping and performing at this place and performing at that place, like I was striking attention. Like my Instagram is kind of dead right now because I haven't been posting, but I was striking attention. You feel me? I could just post something and I would get all the likes. You feel me? And this was like back when Instagram was actually paying you like real bonuses and stuff like that, like for real, for real. Like they do that now, but they do it more for people that have like more of a bigger following and shit. So I feel like it was a good time, like you know what I mean. Because I was just out pretty much performing. My mindset around that time, especially, we're just gonna call him Tom. When Tom died, my thing was I felt like I didn't have that much time to live. I felt like my life was short. So I started just doing reckless things. I started moving fast, like reckless things. Like I was going to mansion parties, sex mansion parties, hanging around people I wouldn't normally hang out with, just doing things that was not smart. And even though I went around these mansion parties and stuff, I was just there for conversation. I wasn't doing nothing with nobody, whether y'all believe that or not. I literally was just there running my mouth and drinking alcohol. And, you know, that was pretty much it. Um, but I was really active on social media. Like everything that I did, I posted about it. Even if the post, I'm like a post and delete person. I don't know if y'all do that, but I'll post something and then I'll delete it later. But during this time, like I was just posting. I was always live, just making conversation with strangers. promoting different parties and events and just everything, just trying to get people outside and just always drunk. I would hold on. Basically, I was really just trying to, I wouldn't say like, I was really trying to like fit into different groups and be around certain people that I wouldn't care to spend time around. Just because I wanted to build connections and I just wanted to be around people. I just wanted to be around people that I felt could understand me, or even if they didn't understand me, I wanted to try to make them understand me because I felt super alone, super alone, super. So people would message me on Instagram all the time, and like I wouldn't respond to everybody, but for the most part, I shouldn't have responded to any freaking body, and especially if I didn't know them. If I didn't know them, I shouldn't have responded to it. I responded to him when he had reached out. And that was another thing. Like, mostly when people would reach out, they would let me know about, an event that's going on, or they would try to do some sort of business and stuff too. So that's another reason why I would respond. So, anyways, he had hit me up and he said, "Hey, I have a studio." And he was like, "Hey, I have a studio." And basically, like, can you come to my studio to help promote or something like that? So, which is not the first time that I done got hit up for like studio stuff. But like I said, I should have put a price on it, but all I did was just I was like, "Hey," I was like, "I'll come if you pay for the gas." You feel me? And he was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." But I should have charged him way more than that. Anyways, he said, "How much do you need for gas?" I said, "I need $50." So when I pulled up to his studio, it was like on the west side of Atlanta. And that wasn't really like suspicious, but I should have been trying to do more professional business. But like I said, I was just being too damn friendly and too fucking nice. I asked him for my gas money before I continued having any other conversation with him. He gave me some cash. He said, "All I got is cash," or whatever. I'm like, "Okay, that's cool." And I went in. It was like this little rinky dink, like townhome or whatever on the west side. And the studio was upstairs. I went up there. I wasn't judgmental or anything like that. And he had some family, some black people cooking. You know how it is when black people cook. You know what I mean? Like, it smelled good. And he was like, "Hey, you want something to eat too while you're here?" I'm like, "Sure." And I stayed there for like, just maybe like 2 hours because I don't know you like that. That was the first time. And freestyling, I was making music. He was doing his thing. I was a little bit surprised because I'm like, wow, he doesn't, people, they really make something out of nothing. But he knew what he was doing. You know what I mean? When it came to like recording and, engineering and stuff like that. He wasn't the best because I didn't been around some real professional people, but he knew what he was doing. And I thought he was a decent person. That's where it started. So after that, I went home. It was no crazy stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I did have a little bit of the food. It wasn't no poison. Everything was straight. So I was like, okay, cool. But like I said, I was living a very fast paced life. So after that first little meeting with him or whatever, I was like, I ain't really stunned him like that. You know what I mean? I wasn't really trying to be around him like that. And whatever I did in the studio, I didn't really care about. He kept that and shit. Let me close my pantry. So a few months went by. I'll say maybe like 3 months, 3 or 4 months. Cause he kept on after that day, he kept on reaching out, trying to get me to come back to that damn studio. And I wasn't really trying to go to the studio. I was doing other shit. I had answered him like a few months later. I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "I'm trying to see if you can come back out to the studio." And I'm like, because when I was there, like I said, he said, "Come to the studio, do this, that, and the fourth." And what he was talking about before, he didn't fully do that. It wasn't no real promotion. I was just there. I freestyled, made some music or some shit. But as far as like, like promoting, like recording content and stuff like that, he wasn't really on that. So I didn't really care about what he had to say. But a few months later, he just kept on DMing me. So I was like, "Fine, whatever. I'll come back out. You got some gas money, whatever." He was like, "Yeah, I got some gas money and more." I'm like, "Okay, cool." I know for those of y'all that are probably like, "Girl, what?" I already know. Don't say nothing. Anyway, so I went back over there. And when I went back over there, he looked a lot different. You get what I'm saying? It's like he looked a lot more skinnier, looked like he was on something, you feel me? But I didn't judge him. You know what I mean? Because everybody in Atlanta, especially when was probably doing something. And, you know, I smoked a little bit of his weed, but I wasn't really a weed smoker too much. I really was a cigarette smoker, which don't make it no better. I don't smoke no more. But you know, so I got high very fast. You know what I mean? Just a few hits and I'm like high. So after that, or whatever, that's when he was coming on to me. He was like, you know, I really like you and you don't know, but I do know a lot of people like in the industry and shit that can put you on and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, that's straight or whatever, but you know, I'm not really like too pressed or whatever because I know people too. He was like, no, but I know some real people that like can really put you on and this, that, for you know how people do. And I'm like, okay, that's true. I'm like, who you know? So he on his little computer or whatever, and he's showing me all those people and he telling me, oh, my mama used to be a rapper, this, that, and the fourth. I'm like, oh, did she still rap? And then he was talking about some events. He was like, you might know my mama. I was like, I might do or whatever. I didn't really press it too much. I started noticing like the way he was talking and shit. It was kind of like freaking me out a little bit because I'm like, I don't. He keep on talking about his mom, this, that, and the fourth, and I don't want to make it seem like you know, like if I do know your mama, you know, because I would ask him if he could show me. I didn't even really want to know if I knew her. You know what I mean? If I do know your mama, I don't want to really know your mama, you know, because I'm over here in your house at this little studio. And like I could tell he was younger than me, but he wasn't. He was like a few years younger. Like when I asked him, you know, he was just like 3 years younger than me. But it was still kind of weird, you know what I mean? Because I just had so much experience. Like I didn't travel the world and stuff. Like even though he was younger than me, he still mentally he was like young, young. You get what I'm saying? So I wasn't really like, no. I told him, I'm like, well, I'm like, that's cool and stuff. I'm like, well, then you got it. I'm like, you got everything you need. Like, you can do all of this on your own. Like, you don't need me to come to your studio. Just focus on yourself and build your own portfolio. He was like, no, but I wanted to do it with you. And I'm like, why you got to do it with me? He was like, you fine, you know, you cute, this and that and the fourth. I'm like, I appreciate it. I'm straight or whatever. Like, you know, like, I ain't really trying to, you know. So I ended up leaving. That time when I left, I was like, okay, I see where this is going, and I ain't trying to go there. I'm not trying to mix business and pleasure. And you know, and I did actually I did make that clear to him before I left. Like I was like, I'm not with the business and pleasure type thing, you know, because it never works out. And when I left, I told myself like, don't go back over there. Don't talk to that nigga no more because why the fuck he not driving? And keep going. I don't care if you got gas money or not. At this point, I'm not making no real money, and I'm not trying to be on your team. I'm not trying to do a team with you. So I left. You know what I mean? I say a year went by. A year went by. This man still was DMing me, DMing me, DMing me, DMing me. I'm like, this man just will not stop. And he would be talking to himself in the DMs. I should have known there was something wrong right there. Like when a nigga is just talking to themselves in the DMs. But I felt a little bad because it was even to the point where he was posting certain shit. It was like he was talking to me. Now, I know y'all be like, how you know he was talking to you? You know when somebody is talking to you through their little video post and through they posting shit. They're talking to you. So and there was a lot of other stuff that went on too outside of that. I wasn't really like, you know what I mean? But I'm like, fuck it, whatever. So I went ahead and I answered his DM, and he's like, I miss you. I want to see you. This and the fourth. I'm looking and I'm just scrolling. He just sending me messages, messages, messages. This nigga just sent me like over the 50 to 100 messages just to message me. And I'm like, yo, I'm like, what's up? Like, I messaged him. I'm like, why do you keep on talking to yourself? He's like, I'm just trying to get your attention. I'm like, what do you want? He's like, I want you. I'm like, you can't have me. I'm like, you younger than me, and you know, it's a whole bunch of other younger girls. He's like, well, he's like, I'm not that much younger than you. You only a few years. He's like, and I want you. Like, you're sexy, you're this, you're that. So I'm like, whatever. And whoever else I was swaying and dating with, they wasn't really, in the spot. And I was at a point where I was still depressed, about so and so. And I just felt like I was never going to be happy. I felt like I was never going to really find nobody like him again. And that's the truth. Like, why the fuck are you looking for somebody that's just like that person that passed away? Like, you need to let that go. So I'm like, fine, maybe we can hang out, like take me out on a date or something like that. He's like, why don't we just do, like just do something like in the house, like let's say money or whatever. I'm like, wow, that was some broke nigga shit. But I was bored and I had nothing else to do. Y'all don't fucking judge me. I had nothing to do. So I was like, fine, I'll kick it with you, and plus like his family and stuff, every time when they would cook, the food was always good. So I'm like, well, I know they're gonna cook something up real good. So and it'll be cool just to get out the house and hang out with somebody because it was just me and my dogs. It was literally just me and my dogs. Like, I was freaking alone. I was alone, and I was just tired of being alone. If I was talking to somebody in between, it was like it was just a hit it and quit it. It was nothing more, and I was kind of tired of that. And I was lonely. I did a lot of stupid stuff. I went over there, hung out with him. We watched the movie. He picked a scary movie, watched it, and I'm not lying. One thing led to another, and it was good. It was good, and I think it was because he was like a rabbit. I mean, that's just but he was hitting it though real good. He was hitting it good to where it had me spend the night. Yes, I spent the night. I spent the night and I was a little bit weirded out. So I'm like, first of all, he's not the only one that lives in this house. Like he lives in this house with other people. But they didn't seem to like really they didn't care. It's not they didn't seem to care. They did not care. And in fact, I think they was happy that he got some, honestly. Like they were nice, like it was nice to me and stuff. I don't really want to, but it was weird for me because I just, I'm so grown. Like I've been living on my own. Like why do we got these other grown people in our business? Like we shouldn't be having all these people in our business. You know what I mean? But things transpired from there. After I spent the night, he didn't want me to leave, and he just seemed really really genuine, nice, soft. At least I thought. And I ended up staying there for like 2 or 3 days, y'all. 2 or 3 days, I was not leaving this man's house, and I kept on trying to leave. He wasn't ready to leave, but that third day, I'm like, look, I have to go. I can't be here. I need to go back home. I need to like check on my plants because if y'all know me, y'all know I love my plants. I was like, I gotta check on my plants. I gotta, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I gotta check on my dogs. That's how mentally I was like, I gotta go check on my dogs. I had not been home to see my damn dogs. They hadn't been eating, they hadn't walked. You see how messed up I was? I was messed up. So I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta get back to my life. I can't stay here. He was like, I don't want you to go, of course. And I was like, well, I'm sorry. I gotta go. So I went home, and when I went home, like my dog, I would let them walk around the house. So when they would walk around the house, like, dog cats, dog. I'm making a YouTube video, baby. Doing another juice it up story time. Juice it up. Juice it up. Juice it up. Honey, you can have it. Okay. All right, I'm getting this kale out. Hold on. And I love this kale. Y'all, kale is everything to me. Like, this kale, it does wonders for my body. Like, wonders. That was a tough kale. What's so funny? So you want me to make that salmon tonight? All right, back to the story, y'all. So, what? Okay, I am. So, I went home. No, you can have it. Yes, have all. Yes. I told you I'm on a diet. I'm not playing. I'm cutting up this kale and stuff. Don't worry about that. This is gonna be like part of the side. Okay, seriously though. Back to the story. When I got home, my dogs, they were in the house, of course they was happy to see me, but they didn't die. You know what I mean? all the poop and stuff was on the puppy pad, so it wasn't. I just had to, like I had to get myself together. I'm like, okay, girl, snap out of it. Because first of all, you shouldn't have been at that man's house that long. You should not have been there that freaking long. I had to get on myself. Also, I had to get my dogs together, because even though I hadn't been home, I had to feed them. Even though they didn't mess up the house, I said, even though I hadn't been home, but even though I hadn't been home, they were straight. But I had to get my dogs together. I had to feed them and let them know that I love them. And I'm sorry that I had to been home that long because I was running around with some dude. Okay, what? What is it? Are you judging me? Don't say nothing to me. Because you coming in here smiling and looking at me like I'm crazy. You got something you want to say? So this is everything I'm going to be juicing. Who? Who is? I don't understand. This juicing and stuff is like, you got to keep everything clean. It's a mess. Okay, but anyways, I'm about to start juicing and instead of you putting it into that big container, I'm gonna just put it in here because you gotta juice a lot, which is why I do have um all of this stacked to the very very top. Now hopefully I can get it halfway. Mm. I'm gonna put some water in here and shake it up. Cause like I say, black people we always like rinsing things off before we use them. I don't know. I'm not gonna say black people, but I don't really. Yeah, I put some of the coconut water in to add to my vegetable juice. Like I tried to drink some of that VH stuff, that VH, the original, but it's so nasty. Like I can't really do it. I can't. But this should last for about a good like 3 days. I'm gonna make sure this is the first thing I drink like in the morning. Okay, let me get back to the story while I'm putting it in here. Start with this one. So, oh, we got married. We got married kind of fast, and within a week of us saying I do, I wish I didn't say that. I wanted to get a divorce so fast, so fast. Because as soon as the whole marriage thing came about and we got married and stuff, that's when he really started showing his. That's when he really started like being abusive and stuff. Like, and I didn't quite understand it because I'm talking about he had no type of sympathy. It wasn't like we was having an argument or nothing. No, it went straight to him, um, just punching me in the face. Like you said, just straight. Like we could be riding in the car, and the next thing you know, and then he just hits me in the face. And I look at him. I'm like, why'd you hit me? Punches me again. Bitch, shut up. Don't say nothing to me. Excuse me? Just shut the fuck up. Why won't you keep on talking? Stop hitting. Boom, 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 boom. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? At that point, I learned to be like, okay, I'm just not going to say nothing. But even then, it's like, why is this happening to me? Why me? Why is this happening to me? And I felt like I could convince him to. I thought that maybe I could convince him to treat me better in the beginning, like that first week. Um, shared the news with some family. That was the worst thing. I should have never brought him around my family, ever. Because I did, and I would try to hint it at my family, like, well, he doesn't like this, and he gets mad about this and that. And they would try to talk to him like a normal person and be like, well, why do you get like that? Y'all married now. You shouldn't be acting like that. He just came out and said it. He was like, I beat Lindsay. All right, little break because I got to put some of the cues in here. And this is up to you. Oh, for some reason I cannot follow. I would say, like, after about 2 weeks of constant beatings, I'm telling you, like, I don't even want to tell you, well, how did it even start to him like beating me? Because most of the time, it was like really small things. And it was so traumatic that, like, there was never a reason for him to put his hands on me the way he did it. It was so bad that this man was beating me with a belt. He was whooping me with a belt. I know, like, he lied to me and told me that certain females, were his sisters. And the woman that I met that was his grandma or his aunties or whatever, those women, they would agree with him and be like, yes, that's his sister. You know what I mean? And it wouldn't be his sister. And one day he wanted his sister to come to the damn house or whatever. And I told him, I'm like, listen, I got stuff to do. I'm like, you got her over here because the girl had ended up spending the night. She was there for days. I'm like, she needs to go. Like, it's stuff that I gotta do. You know what I mean? Like, and then you just got her here, basically like she lived here or something. The nigga was like, I think you're tired. I was like, no, I'm not tired. He's like, well, you need to go to bed. I'm like, I don't need to go to bed. He was so mad that I wouldn't go to bed that he started beating me with a belt. Started beating me with a belt. And then he took my phone, and it was terrible. Like, it was the situation I felt I couldn't get out of. And then he went back in the living room with her. Turns out it wasn't his sister, and I guess he was trying to fuck her in the living room. And the girl, I don't know. I can't speak too much on what happened because I wasn't in there. But he ended up coming back in the room with a knife, and he made me strip down naked and turn to the wall. And he told me to stand there after he beat me with a belt and just had told me to go to sleep. And he said that if I moved, that basically he was gonna like cut me. He went back in the living room and I heard him like beating on her and get into a fight with her. So I'm like, oh my gosh. But I was so fucking scared of him that I stood my ass in that motherfucking corner and I didn't come out. I'm embarrassed to say that, but it's the truth. Like, I was really scared of him. I'm embarrassed that I even got that far with this man. He then came back in the room and forced me to perform fellatio on him and have sex with him. He basically raped me because I didn't want to have sex with him. And I cried the whole time because then it went from not just a knife, but a gun too. I'm like, where the fuck the gun come from? Why you gotta have the knife and the gun on me? I did not realize, but he had the knife and the gun and was making me do things, perform things on him. I grew to really, really hate him. And the abuse had got so bad that I didn't care about anything in my house. I wasn't thinking about my dogs. I wasn't thinking about my house at all. Cause I had a pretty nice house. Like, I was living in Fayetteville, Georgia. So I was living out in the country, like it was peaceful. It was quiet where I was. It wasn't like he was from the west side. I was living in Fayetteville, like countryside. So it was peaceful, it was quiet. It wasn't too much BS going on. But he made me grow to hate my life even more than I had already did. And so and it was so bad. He was beating me so much that my face and my body, he didn't even give it time to heal. Like, I remember having two black eyes. It was bad. And my face was just messed up. I had to wear sunglasses everywhere, bruises all over my arms and stuff. And I went to one of my friend's house. Um, she's a singer and stuff too. And she let me stay at her house. And she looked out for me for a time, but she was like, "What you gonna do? You need to get that man up out of your house." And I was like, "I don't know." I was like, she was like, "Well, did you tell him you don't want to be with him?" I was like, "Well, I've tried, but he doesn't like me to talk too much. Like, he hits me when I do too much talking." And she was like, "He's the devil. He's a demon. You just need to get away from him." She's like, "Call the police or something." And I was like, "I'm scared to call the police." She was like, "What you mean you scared to call the police?" I was scared to call the police because I didn't know if I called the police if they would keep him. You know what I mean? I mean, like, these niggas nowadays, they could do a crime, it could be witnesses and everything, and they'll release them, literally. So I didn't know what to do. But the last straw was my birthday. It was my birthday, and I invited some of my friends over. He had got me like this cake and some gifts that he had stolen with his fake sister from the store. He surprised me or whatever. Mind you, he surprised me with my own money because he actually stole the money from because he stole my wallet. He was just taking my money and just spending it as he pleased. So I did not have access to my cards or anything. Like, I literally felt trapped. Surprised I was in the house. He just came home with a cake and balloons and stuff and some alcohol. And he was like, you can invite whoever you want. And I was like, cool. So I invited my friends. They came over, we played spades, they sung happy birthday to me. But as they came in, it was definitely some tension. These people was questioning me, asking me if I was okay, and they was asking if he was okay because he was literally mean mugging everybody that came over, and it was just uncomfortable. Like, everybody could tell what was going on because even my friend whose house I had ran to, I mean, she already knew. She had seen the bruises and stuff. Everything hadn't completely even healed. So I'm saying, as women and as men coming over here, they see what's going on. They see me, they see that I'm kind of that spirit. And when I'm talking, I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm not really talking that loud. And then it's this weird bitch in the corner, the bitch that he lied and said was his sister. Turns out it was his baby mama. Crazy, right? But he had me thinking that she was his sister for the longest time. It really didn't matter because he was crazy anyway. But it turned out she was his baby mama. And that information had came out. At the get together for my birthday, it came out that she was actually pregnant with his child. I had no idea because I didn't even know her like that, but it came out. We didn't really, nobody put too much pressure on it because nobody wanted me to get hurt, because obviously he was crazy. So he waited until everybody left. And when everybody left, that's when, like, even the girl went. I don't know where she went. She went somewhere for the moment. But I was, I was drunk. I was in the bathroom, using the bathroom, and he came out of nowhere and just yanked me off the motherfucking toilet and started punching me and stumping me out. Like, just stumping me out. And I'm like, stop, stop. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, why are you doing this to me? He was like, bitch, you know why I'm doing this to you. Fuck you, bitch. Fuck your birthday. Fuck all of that shit. You had them people in my house, this, that, and the fourth, blah, 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 blah. So now you're punishing me when you told me to have people come over. So he was stomping me. I could not get up. I was bloody. It was bad. And I didn't have access to my phone all night and morning. Like, I was just a punching bag. I did not get any sleep. I did not get a fucking break either. It was like the nigga was on drugs or something. Oh, I'm so glad I got away from him. I had no peace. This man didn't want me to have no peace. He didn't want me. I couldn't even sleep. Even if he wasn't being me, I wouldn't have been able to sleep because I was afraid to sleep. I was afraid that if I went to sleep, he was going to kill me or, strangle me or something in my sleep. It was literally like I was always on 24/7. I was always watching my back because I didn't know what was going to happen to me. So he had left the house to go do something, and I had snuck and I had called my look. I had snuck and called my auntie because he had left my phone there. And I'm like, auntie. She's like, what's wrong with you? She said, happy birthday. Like, I tried to call you or whatever, and she sees my face. I got black eyes and everything. I'm bloody. Like, dry blood and shit. She's like, what's wrong? Who did that to you? He did that to you? She's like, what's going on? I'm like, auntie. I was like, please come help me. She's like, I can't. I'm like, what do you mean you can't? She said, I can't come over there and help you. I cannot help you. And I was like, okay. I just hung up. I left it alone. And then I called my mom. My mom, she she saw me. She heard the pain in my voice. She said, where is he now? I said, I don't know. She said, I'm coming right now. She said, pack up some of your stuff and get ready to go. She was like, but you got to be serious. She said, don't worry about the dogs. Leave them there. My mom came and got me while he was gone. But he happened to come back at the house right when I had gotten in the car with my mom. So as me and my mom are pulling out, he's pulling it. All right, we took our little break. We juiced some more. Look at this. It's full. It's crazy. I know that there's something I can do with this, but I'm not quite sure I remember. I'm going to put it to the side and I'm going to look up exactly what I can do with all of this. There's something I can do with that right there. Um, but yeah, so as me and my mom was pulling out, he was pulling back in. Mind you, just quick information here. Look at this. Woo. Almost there. So I was driving Lyft and Uber on the side back then to help me preserve my budget for my music career because performing at these different, whether it was a club or whatever, or a lounge or whatever, sometimes you would have to pay for certain stuff like that. Buying my outfits, keeping my hair done, nails, and bills. That stuff got expensive. So I would drive Uber and Lyft on the side. And it was actually pretty good money because I was making about like $200 to $300 a day if I really just spent like 6 hours driving. And my main car had broke down and he didn't have a car. He did have like a Mustang or whatever, but he had got into a car accident before we moved in, so he was driving my car. But since my car was in the shop because it had to be fixed, I had rented a car from Lyft and he was driving the Lyft rental, y'all. So he was driving my Lyft rental. It was a mess. I just have to put that in there because that's a part of the story too. But anyways, me and my mom was panicking because he got mad and swung back around in a circle He saw with my mom, and he started following. He had started following us, and I was tearing up because I didn't want him to know where we was going. I was like, Mom, lose him, lose him, lose him. So my mom had put the pedal to the metal. My mom put the pedal to the metal. She was like, not my daughter. And he didn't know, he didn't know exactly where my mom was. Like, he knew, but he didn't know. He knew what city my mom lived in, but he didn't know exactly like where. So we got away from him. You know, like, my mom is from the Midwest. Like, you feel me? Like, we got away from him. My mom, she know how to drive. We got away from him. I was so happy. So, cause I had all these bruises and stuff all on me. It was a mess. And I got two little sisters. So mind you, like, when I got to the house and my little sisters see me, they're like, oh my gosh, like, Lindsay, are you okay? I was like, yes, I'm okay. And it kind of hurt me because I don't want my sisters to see me like that. This is just like, are you sure you can talk to me? And I get a little bit, you know, because I cried. Like, I literally cried. And I said, Bert, I don't want you to see me like this. Like, I told my little sister, like, I don't want you to see me like this. Just, you know, I'll talk to you, you know, in a second. But just get, and my mom, she was like, Bert, your sister loves you, but give her a second. You know what I mean? So I stayed at my mom's house for about 2 weeks, and my body started to heal, my mind started to heal, and to where I was able to think, you know, thoroughly. And I was texting him, and I'm like, you know, well, I wasn't, let me not say, oh, I was just texting him, but he kept on texting me and was like, where are you? I was ignoring him, you know, and after like 2 weeks of ignoring him, you know, I finally started to, you know, like, I did respond, and I was like, I'm not telling you where I'm at. I'm done with you. You know, I don't want to be with you no more. And he was like, well, it's too late for you to be saying all that because we're married. And I was like, well, we can get a divorce. And he said the only way we can divorce is through death. And I was like, no. I was like, you're not going to kill me. He was like, I'll kill you. I'll kill your whole family. I was like, you'll kill my whole family. He was like, yes, I'll kill your whole family. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, this man is really, really like bananas. Like, I really need to get away from him. So that's when I started slowing down, texting him. And he was like, where are you? And I was like, I'm not going to tell you. He was like, I'm going to find out where you are. And when I do, he was like, it's not going to be good for you. Now, there was a couple of friends, you know, the friends that was at my birthday that I was talking to, letting them know I was okay and stuff. But what I didn't know is that for the ones that I really thought were my friends, they were not my mother. They were not my friends, because he was DMing people through social media or whatever. And he was like, whoever tells me where Lindsay is, I will pay you. Mind you, let me remind you, he had my money. So he was like, I'll pay you if you tell me where Lindsay is. And one of them, I found out later, who basically was like, okay, and he only paid them like, or he told them he was gonna pay them $100. So it's like, you gonna take $100 over me and my sanity and my life, my peace, my well-being? Yeah. $100, and they told this man where I was. This man got one of his fake sisters, mind you, because it was a few girls that he lied and said was his family or his sister or whatever. And they came to where I was, and he was texting me, and he was like, if you don't come, then I'm going to basically, like, He said, I'm gonna kill your mom. I'm going to kill your sisters. I'm gonna kill the whole family. And I was in disbelief. I couldn't believe that he went to the extreme. He wanted me that bad that he would say such a thing. But yeah. And the girl that was the fake sister, she was like, I'm here with him, Lindsay. He said that he's not gonna put his hands on you. He promised. I'm gonna make sure of it. Just come on. I miss you or whatever. Like, what the fuck? Like, are we in a cult or some crazy shit? You know? So at that point, I didn't want him to hurt my family. I didn't want him to hurt my mom. I didn't want him to hurt my sisters. And I told my mom what was going on. And my mom was like, well, I got a gun. And she was like, we'll take it there if we need to. And I was like, Mom, no. I was like, this is my fight. And I don't want you and my sisters getting hurt. So I'm going to have to deal with this. So I went ahead and I got in the car. And he made me drive. He was like, okay, how about you drive? I should have drove to the police station. That's what I should have did. But I drove all the way back home. And everything that she promised he wouldn't do and that he promised he wouldn't do, like, as far as killing and stuff, he didn't do that. But as far as like beating my ass and shit, that shit started the same day I got back in the house. I started noticing that some of my stuff was missing, like clothes and shoes. And I'm asking him, I'm like, where's my clothes? Where's my shoes? They be like, we don't know. They were still in my clothes. They were still in my shoes. And then the other girl, the girl that was there, that was that sister, we're gonna call it sister 1 and sister 2. Sister 2 was the one that had came with him when I was at my mom's. Sister 1 is the one that's the baby mama. And she was fat. The bitch is bigger than me, you know. Like, she was really, really huge. Like, she looked like she was about 300 pounds. But she was pregnant with his babies. Okay. So when we got back to the house, sister 2, she after 2 days, cause him and her, they had got into a fight, and then he had the gun on her, like he was gonna shoot her. She was like, "You're gonna shoot me? You're gonna shoot me?" She had called up one of her little boyfriends or whatever, and they had came and picked her up from my house. She left me there to deal with the crazy, which rightfully so. Like, can't really blame her. And he just kept on shoving that gun in my face and threatening my life. And this was on like a little 9mm, but I know that it could definitely do damage and it could definitely kill me. And he was having his homeboys over at the house and all this kind of stuff. Sister 2 was telling me, she's like, Lindsay, I like you a lot, but she would text me. She was like, I like you a lot, but you need to find a way to get away from him because he's on a DL. And that's why he acts like that. He's DL. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, he's gay. She's like, he likes to fuck trans and he likes to have sex with trans. He likes to have sex with men, but he likes to have sex with women too, but he hates women. So I'm like, whoa, what? She's like, yeah, his cousin still talks to me or whatever. His cousin said that he had raped somebody or something. I was like, what? Had raped like a little boy or whatever. And also when they was little boys, they like him and one of his other friends would, swing and dang. So I'm like, is this deep? So not only is this man forcing himself on me, but he was trying to use me as a beard.